How are we today? My name is Eric Farmer. I'm with the Tennessee Student Assistance Corporation. We're the ones that administer the lottery scholarship, the state grants, and any other state financial aid programs that you want to use to go to school inside the state of Tennessee. Right now, we're talking about Financial Aid 101. I'm going to give you a brief overview. It's going to be about 15 minutes of your time. It's going to be real quick, so that I won't bore you to death, I guess you could say. But if you have any questions after you review the presentation, feel free to contact me at any of the forms of communication that you see there now. I have my email address and my telephone number, which is my cell number. I'm also on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, and as well as Instagram. And you can find me all four at efarmertsac@c. Now, as you go through this college going process, you realize that college can be expensive, and the different schools are at different values or different costs. Then you start looking at your own finances and realize it might be just pennies comparatively. That might put you in a panic. Hopefully we can get you away from the panic. I'm going to be honest with you. This is not a non-stressful process. It will be somewhat stressful, and so we'll do everything we can. And I say we, as all of the resources and whatnot that you have available to you, try to make this as less as stressful as possible. Definitely use us, use me, call me, email me, text me for any questions or whatnot that you might have as you go through this process. Terminology that I'm going to throw up here real quick, cost of attendance, or COA, is what it is, how much it costs to attend an institution. Just keep in mind there's actually two different types of cost of attendance. There is the official cost of attendance that you'll see on the college websites, and then there's actually your cost of attendance, that is the amount that you actually pay to go to that institution. Those two types, the official and your personal, typically are different. In most cases, your personal is less than the official. So don't let the cost of attendance that you see on a website deter you from applying to an institution. EFC, or expected family contribution, this is the reasonable amount of money that the federal government expects you to contribute to your child's education. That's actually the official definition. Just keep in mind that the EFC determines what type of need-based money that you'll qualify for, if any. The lower the EFC, the better chance of receiving need-based money. So the EFC range is from 0 to $99,999. But the lower your EFC is, the better chance of receiving need-based money. And the EFC is derived from the FAFSA. Remember that the FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. Remember the first letter in that. It is free. There are some websites out there that if you go to them and complete your FAFSA, you'll be asked to pay to submit this free form. Remember to go to FAFSA, FAFSA, .ed.gov or FAFSA.gov. Either site's fine. That is the free site, and that's the free government site as well. You'll have to have an FSA ID. The student will need one, and at least one parent in the household will need an FSA ID. This is used to electronically sign off on your FAFSA and also log into your FAFSA, and actually to do other Department of Ed things as well. You want to make sure you keep up with your FSA ID, which is a username and password. Possibly write it down somewhere so that you'll remember it, and just keep it safe that way if you decide to do that. The student aid report is a summary of your FAFSA. It lists everything that you've put into your FAFSA, as well as any errors that might be displayed through there once it goes through the process. If you have any errors in your on your FAFSA that's pointed out through the student aid report, you want to get those errors corrected as soon as possible so that you can get the financial aid that you've qualified for. When you hear the term financial aid, think of grants, loans, and scholarships. All three are financial aid. Grants, free money based upon need, and that's where the EFC comes into play. Loans, of course, is money that you borrow that you got to pay back with interest. But with education loans, and actually most loans, you want to use that as a last resort. Try to get as much free money as possible. What you want a gun for is the scholarships. Excuse me. Scholarships are free money based upon merit, skill, or unique characteristics. So, of course, you know about the merit-based scholarships with the GPA or ACT score, or SAT scores. For the skill scholarships, if you're an athlete, musician, artist, actor, actress, et cetera, et cetera. And then you have the unique characteristic scholarships based upon your unique characteristics, height, ethnicity, if you're left-handed, ailments that you might have. So those are all unique characteristic scholarships. So what you want to do is maybe write a list of your unique characteristics and search them on the website, whatever search engine you use. Type in scholarship behind it. For instance, I have allergies. I would type in allergy scholarship, hit enter, and see what pop up, and kind of search that way. There's also databases that are out there as well, which I'll get into a little bit later. The verification is an audit of your FAFSA. Nothing to be afraid of. It's a random audit. If you're called for verification, all you're going to need is some paperwork. Financial aid office from the institution will need some type of paperwork. The work study program is a federal program where money is set aside for your child to work on a college campus. That money is actually paid directly to the student, where most financial aid is paid to the school first. Whatever's left over from the student's account, after all the bills are paid, that's what goes back to the student. If there's anything left with a work study program, the money goes directly to the student, and he or she can use it as they wish. So when you think about the cost of attendance, a lot of times people, students and parents, will stop at tuition and forget about the other costs. There's actually 6 factors going into the cost of attendance. You have the direct cost of the tuition, room and boarding fees, and the indirect costs of the books, travel expenses, and personal expenses. When you think about your cost of attendance, no matter what school you go to, you want to keep in mind those 6 factors. If you don't know where to start, you can always look at a college website, and they'll have them listed in the same way. You can figure out your personal costs by substituting things or tweaking the cost there on different things. So let's say if it's your room and board, you might get a cheaper room that is listed, than is listed on the college website. The travel, you might have a car your first year, so your travel expenses might be a little less as well. Once you figure out your cost of attendance, you got to come up with a package to cover your costs, and this is where your sources of the financial aid will come into play. So you look at your federal government, the state, the private sources, and the institutions. All those different types of sources do have different types of financial aid. The institutions have different types, even merit, skill, unique characteristic, or merit, skill, unique characteristic, and need-based scholarships at the institutions as well. Private sources has the different ones as well. Check with your guidance counselor, look at other high school websites, even those databases like FastWeb, scholarships.com, those will have private scholarships as well. We, with the state, have scholarships and grant money and loan forgiveness programs for different programs. Then, of course, the federal government has like the federal Pell Grant, the SEOG, the work study program, and other programs as well. When you do fill out the FAFSA, class of 17, you'll be filling out the 17-18 FAFSA, and the first time you can do it is October 1st of this year, so October 1st of 2016. Students and parents that possess a valid social, you must create a FSA ID. That's how you actually sign off on it. At least one parent, at least one student, and the student and at least one parent of the household will complete the FSA ID process. Most students and parents will be able to use what we call the IRS data retrieval tool to pull the tax information into the FAFSA from the IRS. The cool thing that's different this year is that instead of using previous year's tax information, you'll actually be using prior. You're going 2 years back. So the first year listed in the FAFSA is 2017. You're going to go 2 years back from that point, and you'll see, notice that it's 2015. 2015 taxes are already done. Go to the data retrieval tool, upload them that way. If you can't use the data retrieval tool, you just type all your information in, hit submit, or type in your FSA ID, hit submit, and that's it. You're done. You don't have to go back in and update information. You are just done. Okay. So a lot of times we have questions about, do we have to put the parent's information on the FAFSA? Well, these are questions here that will determine if you have to or not. If you mark no to all these questions, then yes, you do have to put your parent's information on there. So are you 24 years or older? And if you mark no, or are you married? Are you going after your bachelor, or master's, or doctorate? Are you in the armed forces? Are you a veteran? Do you have a child or children or a dependent receiving half their support from you? Since you turned the age of 13, were both your parents deceased, or were you in foster care or ward of the court? Are you an emancipated minor? Are you under legal guardianship? Or are you an unaccompanied youth who is homeless? If you mark no to any of those questions, you're going to need your parents' information on there. Now, who constitutes your parents? Your parent is someone who's either your biological or adoptive parent. What's this on the screen now? None of these people are your parents unless they have legally adopted you. The only information from a parent standpoint that goes in the FAFSA is if they're your biological parent or your adoptive parent. None of these people can go on your FAFSA unless they've adopted you, okay? Now, with the FSA ID, it's going to ask different bits of information. This just here is a worksheet that we've kind of made up to where you can write it down and save it. Can send this to your guidance counselor, or if you contact me, I can email this to you as well. What's in red blocks are required on the FSA ID, but if you notice at the corner at the top of the screen, you see email. The email is not required, but I highly recommend that you enter an email address, because that's another way that you can, that's another way you can log in, because your email address can be used as a username. In saying that, the email address of the student and parent has to be different, because the email address can be used as a username. Also, it's ideal to use an email address because if you can't remember your password or your username or anything like that, you can reset your account easier through email than having to try to remember your security questions. Another function on here that says show text, I highly recommend marking that box so that you can see what you're typing in for your password, and you'll see it later on in some other screens, like for the social. That way you're making sure you're typing your password in correctly. You're typing your password in correctly. You got to put in your social, your date of birth, and your first, middle, and last names. Make sure you enter the correct social or you'll have problems. Students, try to memorize your social from this point forward, because you'll be using it a lot as well. When you go make your security questions, the first two questions are coming from a drop-down box, and you'll just type in the answers to them. The third and fourth question are questions that you have to create, and then also type in the answer. The fifth question is actually in a significant date in your life that cannot be your birthday. So parents, typically you can use your child's birthday or your spouse's birthday or the day that you got married. Students, use a parent's birthday or your graduation day, prom day, or something like that. Students, steer away from using your current boyfriend or girlfriend's birthday, just because they might not be your girlfriend or boyfriend after you start college. If you have issues with your FSA ID, here's an 800 number. Also, you can go to edit my FAFSA, and you'll see the forgot username or forgot password, or you can contact me and I can try to walk it through the issue as well. When you do apply for or use the FAFSA and fill out the FAFSA and submit it, you're applying for the federal Pell Grant, the SEOG, and the work study program. If you notice, there is an EFC range for the Pell Grant. And like I said earlier, the lower the EFC, the better chance of receiving the need-based money. You're also applying for the loan program. So you've got the subsidized and unsubsidized Stafford loans. Subsidized means the federal government pays your interest while you're in school. Unsubsidized means that the interest will start accruing the minute of disbursement. And then you have the Parent Plus loan, which is an additional loan based upon the parent's credit, and the interest rate is actually higher. Also, by completing the FAFSA, you are applying for the Hope Scholarship. At the community college, it's $1,500 per semester if you have a 3.0 GPA or 21 ACT score. You have the General Assembly Merit Scholarship, which is a supplement to the Hope. You have to have a 29 ACT score and a 3.75 GPA. And then you have the Aspire Award, which is also another supplement to the Hope. You have to have an adjusted gross income of $36,000 or less. Now, unfortunately, if you qualify both for GAMS and Aspire, you only get one. In this case, at the community college, you'll get the GAMS because that's the most money of $500. Now, the four-year institution, the amounts change a little, the requirements stay the same. So if you're Hope eligible at the four-year institution, if you're classified as a freshman and sophomore, you will receive $1,750 per semester. Classified as a junior or senior, you'll get $2,250 per semester. GAMS, same 500. The Aspire goes up by 500 to 750. And once again, if you qualify for GAMS and Aspire, you get one. In this case, you'll get the Aspire. There's other state aid out there, like the Hope Access Grant, just in case you don't qualify for the Hope Scholarship. You have the Water Navy Technical Skills Grant, which is an automatic $2,000 to go to a certificate or diploma program. And then you have the Tennessee Student Assistance Award, which is our state grant that you can get anywhere from $1,000 to $4,000, depending on the type of school that you go to. With Tennessee Promise, it's just a checklist. There's no GPA or ACT requirement. This is a last dollar tuition and mandatory fee scholarship to go to any community college in the state of Tennessee and any Tennessee College of Applied Technology. Also, there are some four-year institutions that you can use Promise, but Promise does not cover the full tuition at the full four-year institution. So a student, in order to be Promise eligible, will need to apply for the Tennessee Promise program at tennesseepromise.gov by November 1st. So the application is live right now. They'll have to complete the FAFSA by January 17th. You have 2 mandatory meetings that you have to attend. There's 8 hours of community service that you have to do between November 2nd and July 1st. And then if you're considered and selected for verification, you have to get the paperwork back to the institution by July 15th. If you do all this, you qualify for the Tennessee Promise. Okay, so like I said, the Tennessee Promise is that last dollar tuition and mandatory fee scholarship. This is what we do. I'm in Area 5, so I have a 10 county radius. But if you have any questions or anything, or you know friends across the state, feel free to give them my colleagues' information. If you have questions and you can't find my colleagues' information, or you gave it to somebody, feel free to give them to somebody else that's in another area. I don't mind answering questions and whatnot. I don't mind answering your questions. So feel free. Any questions you have, feel free to contact me at eric.farmer@tn.gov, or my telephone number, 423-326-7198. And once again, you can contact me on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, and also Instagram at efarmertsacse. Thank you for listening, and y'all have a good day.